Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jonathan Bailor and April Perry, and we are back with another episode of the SANE Show and an exciting top 10 type of list show that April has prepared for us today.
Well, I've been saying now for almost 3 years, and yeah, just about 3 years. And there have been some big changes. I was actually thinking about what has been the biggest difference in my life now that I have been sane and been learning from you for so many years. And just thought I would put together in a quick top 10 list to be able to help other people who might be either considering the same lifestyle or who are trying to start and want to know if it's worth it. Because I never stuck with a routine for eating or exercise for more than maybe 3 or 4 months in the past. And to be able to live this way for 3 years, and I have no intention of stopping. I mean, that's a big deal for me. And I'm just super grateful. So this is like my hats off to Jonathan and the SANE program. And I'm going to just walk through and thought I could share my little top 10 list. And I'm sure you have some other experiences or ideas or counselor advice to offer as we go through. Sound good?
Sounds awesome. Starting from the top.
Number one is I buy a lot of vegetables. I have to just start with that one because before going sane, I had vegetables and they were in my fridge, but I wasn't walking out of the grocery store with a cart like full of vegetables. And so now it's not just buy, one bag of spinach. It's buying multiple bags of spinach. It's buying multiple bags of broccoli and celery and carrots and tomatoes and kale and Brussels sprouts. I mean, vegetables, I never had Brussels sprouts before. There are a lot of foods I just had never even tried. And learning especially how to eat green vegetables and just buy them in bulk. I just have to say that's, I think, the number one difference that's not only helped me to be able to feel better, but just to be able to have my body just be stronger and look better too.
You're 100% on the right track, April. The research and all the experience we've had with our members and clients over the past decade tells us one very simple thing that I would encourage everyone to write down, which is your health, your appearance, and your energy are proportionate to the amount of vegetables you eat. Period. That's it. There's the secret. There's the secret right there.
So I love that. So that had to be number one. Number two is I'm not afraid of food anymore. And I realized as I've been thinking back to my life, I mean, I used to always look at food in terms of calories. So foods that had higher calories, I was more afraid to eat. I didn't think of food as fuel for my body. I just thought of it as, well, what's the minimum that I could eat to maybe satisfy my hunger, but not eat too much. And I was always thinking, like, if there was chocolate cake or pie or ice cream, it was, oh, I better not get near that. I better go brush my teeth first so I won't even be tempted. I mean, it was always trying to avoid food so that I wouldn't feel bad. And even things like restaurants, when my husband and I would have a date and we were going out to dinner with another couple, I was panicked because I was like, well, I know I'm going to eat too much when I'm there and I won't be able to count calories. And I was just so worried, or I'd starve myself the whole day so I could eat dinner. And I feel like just not being afraid of food, that's huge.
That is tremendously huge. And it inspired, this is going to sound a little bit silly, but I think maybe it was Shakespeare or someone else from history who said something like, nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And what we've learned from all the science that backs SANE is that calories are not good or bad, but SANEity, that makes them so, right? There are absolutely calories that make us sick and sad, and there are absolutely calories that make us happy and healthy. And if we eat more of those happy, healthy calories so that we're too full for the sick and sad calories, things become simple and sane real quick.
Well, and that's just been so huge. Like, I can't even tell you how much I appreciate that, because to be able to actually enjoy eating again, so fun. And so I just feel so grateful. Number three is I don't weigh or measure myself anymore. And I just use my clothes as a gauge and how I feel. And I love that because I used to be on the scale every morning. I would be charting, tracking, measuring, writing down, and feeling like I wasn't doing this consciously, but subconsciously, I was evaluating my worth as a person by what that number said. And now it's not only that I'm like avoiding the scale or I'm purposely not measuring myself. It's that I honestly don't even think about it. I'm just like, okay, let's get on with the day. And I mean, I have a scale, but I just don't ever even consider stepping on it because I just don't feel the need to. So that alone, like that has saved me so many hours. I can't even tell you.
And that fits right in the bucket of vegetables, April, where we say people want to know, like, what is the secret? What is the trick? What are the 7 habits of the most highly sane people? People who achieve long-term sane success don't weigh themselves,
Yeah.
period. So if you want to emulate people who have happy, healthy lives, please stop weighing yourself.
Yeah. So amazing. It just makes me so happy. I can't even tell you. Okay. Number 4, this is a big one. I think of myself as an instrument and not as an object. And you and I have had a lot of conversations about this where, I felt like this external pressure, a lot of it spurred by the media, that I needed to look a certain way, have, perfectly toned arms, look awesome in a swimsuit, even though like logistically I could be a grandmother in 3 years, which totally scares me, but I could be. I mean, it was a big shift for me because I used to, like when I would leave the house, I would focus more on, will people think I look overweight, or will people think I don't look appropriate or something like that. Like I just had this fear of what other people were going to be thinking of me, or how do I look in that picture, or, just judging myself that way. And I feel like, and it's so funny, it's just kind of happened slowly over the past 3 years. It wasn't like an instant thing. But now when I go somewhere, or when I'm in pictures, or when I'm, around new people, I'm just focusing on how is that person doing, and how can I connect with that person, or how can I be of help to other people, or what can I do with my life to do my mission and be able to make the world better. Like that's what I'm thinking about. And I don't have any thoughts going into, I wonder how I look in this shirt, or I wonder, if someone approves of me. And and that's another huge one, like amazing.
And April, it warms my heart to hear that, because at the end of the day, I think the reason we want to pursue health, and the reason we want to pursue whatever appearance we desire, is because we believe it will give us a feeling. Mm-hmm. We believe it will make us feel and experience life in a certain way. And wouldn't it be neat if feeling and experiencing life in that way could be something that we just choose to start doing today, and then health transformations and appearance transformations ensue? Like we tend to think that the health and the appearance transformation has to happen first before we can feel that way. But the irony is that modern psychology has proven that if we give ourselves permission to feel that way, we will act in a way that causes us to manifest that long-term health and the appearance that we desire. So we flip the order and we get phenomenal results.
Yeah, it's amazing. And really, like, I owe a lot to you for that, because just being able to make that shift, there are so many things I've now been able to do in my life that there is no way I would have been able to do it if I was still sitting around on the scale, starving myself, trying to please some person out there. I couldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. And so huge. Okay. Number 5, I'm never hungry and sad. Like, I can't even tell you how great that is. I'm part of some Facebook groups where there are people who are starving themselves and trying to lose their weight, and they're encouraging each other. Oh, you can do it. Nothing tastes as good as thin feels. Just don't eat, or there was someone in one of my groups who was on the special diet and starving herself. And she's like, yeah, my mom came to visit and I told her about all my success, with my new diet. And she's like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll start eating that way too. But then around, 8:00 at night, she said, well, I'm really hungry. Couldn't I eat maybe vegetables or just something before I go to bed? And I told her, no, you gotta not eat because you gotta wait till tomorrow. And so my mom said, well, I guess I'll just go to bed early then. And so my mom went to bed so that she didn't have to be hungry anymore. And I wanted to cry when I read that, because I just thought, you know what? I lived like that for years, and I watched my mom live like that all growing up, sealing off at 6:00. No matter how hungry you are, you're done eating. And to feel that food is a really bad thing that you can't eat if you're hungry, and that you not only just can't eat it, but you can't even interact with your family or enjoy your evening because now you better go to sleep to make your life more tolerable. That just, it rips my heart. Like that, I can't handle that. And I just feel so grateful that if I choose to be hungry, like if I'm fasting for religious purposes, or I'm choosing not to eat the pizza at a party and I'm going to wait till I get home, fine, I can choose to be hungry, but I'm not sad about it. I'm deliberately making that choice. but that whenever my stomach is saying, oh, it's time to eat, I can just go eat until I'm full and then go on with my life. And I mean, that's transformative too.
It's transformative, April. And I mean, we could have a whole show about this. So I'm not going to say the things I want to say because
Okay.
I would take too long. But you said so many wise things there. One of the things I would encourage people to think as well is if someone just said, I am going to choose to be thirsty for the rest of my life, people would kind of be like, why?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't, why would you do that? Why would you be thirsty or tired? Like, why would you be sleep deprived for the rest of your life? And why would the human body require thirst or tiredness or hungriness to thrive? In fact, that's a paradox, right?
Yes.
Like to say that I have to be hungry or tired or thirsty to thrive is an oxymoron. That's like saying I have to jump in water to stay dry. It doesn't actually make sense.
Yeah.
And that's because there's all this cultural, emotional baggage around food. And if SANE can help free you from that, then I can tell you where the entire SANE team is very happy.
I know, I agree. I think that's like one of the biggest ones. And kind of going with that, number 6 is I'm way more just relaxed. I didn't realize how much stress it was putting on me to always be thinking about my calories. Have I made it to the gym yet? Did I weigh myself yet? But those were thoughts every day, like get up in the morning, got to get the kids off to school, and I can't eat yet because I have to get to the gym and work out so I could get home and weigh myself to have the number lower before I could eat anything or drink anything. That alone, I mean, and I feel a little embarrassed even admitting that, but I feel like I need to say it because I know there are people listening right now who are doing the exact same thing. And the number of times I was snapping at my family because I was hungry, or I was upset with my husband because I was like depressed about my body. I mean, I just think about all the things that were happening. I was uptight. I mean, I wasn't like a bad person. You're not a bad person when you're dieting, but I was not relaxed and happy. And the number of times now that I'm laughing, that we turn on music, I play duets with Aaliyah on the piano, we play with our dog. Our puppy is so cute. And we're like playing with the toys and throwing the ball and just having fun together. And my kids, I have 3 teenagers now and then a little 9-year-old. And like we have fun together. And I would not be experiencing that if I were hungry and stressed and focused on trying to starve.
And the default state of humans is one of happiness and one of health, right? No baby comes out of the womb with like severe anxiety.
Yeah,
they
true.
are, but we lose that. Baggage comes in and it crowds it out. And this calorie counting, misogynistic, evaluate your worth by your weight is part of that. Where if you can just break free from that, and get back to the default state for humans is a healthy body weight. The default state for humans is energy. The default state for humans is happiness and relaxation. That is the default state. So if we can free ourselves from all this calorie baggage, the default state is pretty amazing.
I love that you mentioned that because it's true. When you have a little baby, oh my gosh, they're smiling and laughing and just having so much joy. And we lose that joy. You're right. And I feel like I'm getting that back tenfold, and because I lived so long the other way, I think I just appreciate it even more where I'm waking up excited and I'm noticing that if there are other stresses in my life, I'm more quick to figure out what to do to get rid of those because I know how it feels to be happy. I'm like, well, if I could solve it in the food area, I could also solve it in the mental health area, and I could solve it in the relationship area and the finance area, and so I feel like it gave me a really strong win where not only health-wise am I doing way better, but now my whole life is like really good. I'm so happy, like so grateful. Okay, number 7, I have a ton more energy. And this is so fun because I didn't even realize how lethargic I was. I mean, and as I've been talking or experiencing these, Facebook groups or people who are starving themselves, they have no energy, really. Like it's sad. It's honestly like I'm going to sit around and not try to do anything and not think, or I, had some goals for today to organize, but I just can't even do it because I'm hungry. So I'm just going to sit still and starve. And people honestly think that that's okay. They think that that's like valiant and noble. And that's what I used to think. I'm like, well, I'm doing a really good job starving myself. And so let me just sit here and do that. But now, I mean, I have as much energy as I need. I mean, yes, I do have some sleep issues. I'm working on that because like I wake up way too much all night. But overall, just eating these healthy foods, I just feel like I'm way more energetic than I ever was before.
It is very, very difficult for a car to run without gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
And it is impossible for a human being to thrive without fuel. And I know, again, it sounds obvious, but if you don't eat enough food, you will not be able to live your fullest life. So I'm so happy that you're able to live your fullest life now.
Well, and some people will argue and say like, well, you don't need that much food to live, right? Like you can live on a lot less if you want to look a certain way. So it's like decide how much you want to weigh and then eat the amount of food that's going to keep you there. But that doesn't make me healthy and energetic and thriving. That makes me skinny and hungry. And
Absolutely.
I guess you could choose that.
And you could live having no other people in your life, and you could live on an island by yourself in complete isolation. But I'm not sure if that's the optimal way to live.
Right.
And you could live with on $1 a day. In fact, about 1 billion people around the world live on $1 a day.
Have you seen that Netflix documentary called $1 a Day?
I have not.
So good. Okay. Anyway, you're right. Totally
so anyway, so a life of lack can still be a life, but why would we pursue it?
Yeah. Love it. Okay, number 8. This is like a huge one. These have like all been huge. Can you tell my life has been so influenced for good here, Jonathan? This is like payday for you. Okay. It says, number 8 is I don't compare myself negatively to other women. Oh, okay. This is huge for me because before, if I saw a woman who was really toned and muscular and like how you taught me, like unnaturally healthy, I would think, I'm a loser. I'm failing. I'm not as good as she is. And I would totally compare myself. And now here's what I ask myself. Like, I'm not against her for being toned and looking beautiful. If that's what she wants to do, that's great. But here's what I ask. I say, is having an unnaturally fit body more important to me than the priorities I have in place right now? And then I just assess my life, the time I'm spending with my husband and my children, my parents, the work that I'm doing, the stuff in my community, the time I'm spending sleeping and enjoying my family. I'm like, do I want to trade any of that right now? Because I know what I could do. Like if I want to look more like her, okay, I'm going to be super, super sane and I'm going to be super careful on every little thing I eat. And I'm going to be at the gym more and I'm going to be really working at it. If I want that, I can have it. So I think that's what's exciting is like now it's not like, oh, I wish I could get there. Now it's like, do I want to put into my life what it would take to get that? And right now the answer is no. I mean, maybe someday I might be a little bit more into that, but right now I'm not. And I love that it's not a comparison now. It's just like, all right, that's your priority, but it's not my priority.
Focusing on the distinction of priorities is essential, April. And one of the ways that I do this in my own mind, similar to you, is I think about it like running a marathon. If you want to run a marathon, you can. It's going to take a bunch of training and
some people love it.
And some people love it and you can do it and you're going to have to not do other things. And I think we'd all agree that to run a marathon, you will have to do that instead of some other things. And if you'd like to do it instead of other things, rock and roll. But if you consciously choose not to, it's all good. No shame needed.
I love that. No, absolutely true. So that's just been a huge opener for me. Next is I'm able to direct my energy toward achieving my bigger goals. And I've talked a little bit about this in the first, 8, but that's what's been so fun is I look back at the last 3 years of my life and I feel like, my life was good. It was moving forward and upward and it was in a good direction. But the last 3 years, it's been like a dramatic shift up. I mean, just like, okay, now I'm ready. And I mean, just things in how good my relationships are. I wrote a book for my mom. She's dying of Alzheimer's, and I've been reading it to her every week when I go to visit and taking my kids where they get to see my mom and dad next to each other towards the end of her life. I mean, how beautiful is that to see that every single week? Being able to have a close relationship with God. Building our business. I'm getting more education, training, taking courses, classes. Our family just found a new home that's like perfect for our family. I'm so excited. So we're moving in. We close in 1 month. I can't wait. Like everything is just like coming into place. Now, have there also been hard things? Yeah, of course. Like I've had some ups and downs and everyone has hard things in life. So I'm not afraid to admit that. Like, but overall, the general direction has just become so wonderful. And it's not like, oh, SANE was the cause, like because I started eating vegetables, all of a sudden my life just became amazing. But it was a domino, right? This domino effect had a huge difference.
I think a great way to frame it, April, is imagine that for the first 20, 30, 40, 50 years of our lives, we had the flu and we didn't know it
Yes.
because so many other people had the flu. It's just like, oh, but think about how you feel when you have the flu. Think about the impact that has on your life. And think about a human being that felt that way for 40 years. Mm-hmm. And then in the 41st year, they didn't feel that way anymore. Now, that in and of itself wouldn't make them have a tremendous relationship. That in and of itself wouldn't cause them to reach all their financial goals. That in and of itself wouldn't do all these things. But it would certainly point them in a direction to do all of those things a lot quicker and a lot easier.
It's so true. Well, I mean, so in our business, we help people to get rid of clutter and get rid of paperwork and show them you don't have to be drowning in piles anymore. And there was one of our participants in our program who she said that she's like working full time. She's getting her master's and she had 2 preschoolers. And she said, when I would come home from work, I would look around my dirty house and messy house, and I was filled with a self-loathing of like, why can't I get my act together? Why am I a mess? And so she wouldn't want to do anything. She would just kind of keep going, right? So she came into our program, completely revamped her whole house, everything, got everything organized. And she's like, she goes, I've kept the downstairs totally clean for 3 weeks. The whole thing's clean. She's like, now my husband and I are talking about getting a foster child. We like really want to be foster parents. And then she just emailed me like a month ago. And she's like, you know what? We just moved closer to my family. I didn't know we could move. But once we cleaned up all the mess, I'm like, hey, we can move. And they moved. And they're so happy to be near their family. And it was like, just sometimes when you're just buried, whether it's clutter and paper or whether it's I'm starving myself and I don't have any energy because I'm so tired and sick. Like it opens up your mind and it creates space. It creates space for you to actually then create and do something way better.
Sometimes just clearing out that which blocks us, or as Stephen Covey would say, taking our foot off the brake can be tremendously more effective than pushing on the gas harder and harder while the brake is still on.
I totally agree. All right. Number 10, last one is I feel like the diet and exercise part of my life is finally solved. Now, what I love is that yes, I don't feel like I have this perfect body and I'm out there to, be a swimsuit model. That wasn't really what I was going for anyway. But I feel like I'm finally to the point where I'm happy with myself. I'm like, you know what? I am taking good care of myself. I'm sleeping and drinking water and eating healthy foods, and I'm walking and going to the gym occasionally, and I'm enjoying my family. Like I finally gotten to the point where I'm not always feeling like I'm less than, or I'm not quite there. I'm not quite good enough. It's not that feeling anymore. It's like I'm doing well, and there's ways I could improve, sure. And I will continue to improve and learn how to make better smoothies and learn how to, make better food and exercise, like have additional weights as I'm doing my eccentric weights. Like I'm still improving, but I'm not improving because I don't think I'm enough. Now I'm improving because I'm excited to continue growing. And that's just been amazing. So that's my top 10.
April, I love that you closed on that one because you gave a probably better definition than I've ever given of the ultimate objective of sane living. And that is what we call nutritional serenity, which it's not, our goal is not to give you 6-pack abs. We can show you how to have 6-pack abs, but that's not the goal of our program. Our goal isn't to make you better at CrossFit. Our goal isn't to make you a marathon runner. Our goal isn't to make you better than other people. Our goal is to help you achieve nutritional serenity. And the definition of that is what April just said.
So thank you. I wish I could give you a standing ovation right now. My stand-up desk is broken, so here I am.
well, let's all clap for all the tremendous researchers who, again, I am just a mouthpiece for thousands and thousands of researchers who have dedicated their lives to this information, and it's just buried in academic journals. And our goal is to make it accessible for everybody so that they can achieve nutritional serenity like you have, April. So thanks for being an embodiment of that. And I hope this top 10 list was helpful for people. And if you've also had this experience, write into us, let us know if you have things in common here with April, because I've heard a lot of things here that I know a lot of people are also enjoying. So keep it in mind, use it as a guide, and remember, stay sane. We'll chat with you soon.